Allow me to start off with a tour of my brand new reading oasis. That's what I'm calling it. Yes, it's dramatic, but it makes it more fun. I have spent the past couple of days setting up our outdoor area, so that is a place that I can easily come to and escape into books mostly. Maybe I'll play my Switch out here. Maybe I'll just sit out here because it's so relaxing. I'm listening to birds right now. Also why I'm using this mic. I kind of feel like the mic makes it more intimate. I'm also speaking quieter, softer, to really set the vibe so that I could try to tell you what it's like to be sitting here right now. First of all, weather's great. I'm just soaking it up while I can because I know what a hot summer day in Florida is like, and it's just not pretty. But now it's great. We've got a breeze. Let me show you around the space. I'm so happy with it. I started off with the plants. I have 3 potted plants, a birds of paradise, which I've always been weirdly obsessed with because when they flower, they look like birds, hence the name. Very beautiful. And I'm curious to see if my plant gets any flowers. I really, really hope so. Next, I have some lilies. I got them just because they're beautiful, and they know they're beautiful, and I support them. And the purple plant at the bottom, I don't remember what it's called. I mostly got it because it's one of my favorite colors, purple. And I feel like it adds more texture to the space. I was really in my garden fairy mindset with this whole thing. I'm so happy with it. I'm actually more than happy with it. I'm shocked about it. Like the fact that this was all kind of being put together in my brain and now I'm sitting here enjoying it is crazy. It's just such a fun thing. You should do things that you love more often. Oh, I have a big yellow umbrella because shade is absolutely necessary. I also feel like it kind of gives it more of a roof and more of a cozier feeling. Like this feels like my little summer alcove, my getaway. I don't know. Something cozy, even though it's outside and like maybe 80 degrees right now. I have some garden accessories because you know me, I love an accessory. I have these butterfly wind chimes and they're actually solar powered, which I love. Oh, I also have solar powered butterfly clips. Whoever did this is genius because they just sit outside and get charged. I never have to charge them. But if I come out here at night, I'm pretty sure, yeah, they have an on button. Oh, I just got them today, so they're still charging. But if I wanted to at night to even make it more cozier in this chair, I could just clip them like around. I have 3 of them and I could clip them around the chair and add in some ambiance, some like mood lighting in the form of fun, colorful butterflies. I love it. I have another flower garden decoration, some hanging flowers, which are hanging on by sheer will, to be honest. I picked a big bunch of flowers to put in that hanging basket. Honestly, they're a little bit too big for the hanging basket, but I believe in them, and I'm gonna go get some more support for them. Oh, what you're currently sitting on now is my mushroom accent table. It's so cute, the perfect shade of orange for outside. I also got a watermelon pillow. This is gonna be my seasonal item out here. I'll probably switch this out every season or just whenever I'm feeling like it, but I really like this watermelon one for summer and it's good back support, to be honest. What I'm currently sitting in is my new egg chair and I love it so much. It's the perfect size. I can sit, I can lay down. Austin and I both can fit in here. One of us can hold Zoe and it'd be a whole family moment. It's perfect and so comfy and makes the space. Like the chair is the space. The rest of it, accessories. Oh, I did decide to put an outdoor rug down just again to make it more of a cozy space and make me want to be out here because part of the reason why I haven't done anything out here is because I really have never wanted to be out here because what was I gonna do? But as soon as I thought, oh, I could dedicate this space to something I love to do and spend a lot of time doing and get to enjoy nature, which I definitely need to do more. I was inspired and I really wanted to make it a place that I loved being, and the rug helps. Small detail, really important though. Now this is where my garden fairy and tinker fairy talents really combine because I built this chair myself, I have to say. I did all of this myself, potted the plants. Anyways, in addition to my mushroom table, I wanted to add another little coffee table like area, but I knew a coffee table was too big, so I used a plant riser, this little white wooden plant riser. It's meant for you to put like plant pots on. But it's really, really low to the ground, and I set a candle on it that's supposed to help with the mosquitoes, and I have a book vase because this is a reading space and books make sense, and a fake hydrangea to go inside the vase because not everything has to be real. It's okay. Oh, yeah, the hedges in the back are also fake. I trust myself to take care of 3 potted plants, and that's about it. Oh my gosh. It's like the perfect time of day out here. Oh, and I'm thinking, why not break it in? Because I just finished this all today. Why not break it in with a little reading session? I'll tell you about the book I'm currently reading. Like, isn't this just incredible? I'm in a cage. It's cozy cage. It's like a bird cage. Birds love their cages. Welcome to my cozy garden reading oasis space, all the words. I'm currently reading A Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson. I know about this book because I unboxed a fairy loot, I think on this channel. I think while I was building my bookshelves, I unboxed it, thought it was beautiful. It has dragons, and the little blurb says it's for fans of Babel and Fourth Wing. I've not yet read Babel, although I think I'm gonna make it part of my summer goals to read all of R.F. Kuang's books. That just sounds so fun. Anyways, not yet read Babel, so TBD there, but I have read Fourth Wing and I did really like the series. I do really like the series. So I was interested to see why they would say if you're a fan of those things, you would like this book, and I definitely see it. Without giving away spoilers, because I like to keep these vlogs spoiler-free so you can enjoy your own experience with the book, and I can still share mine. I see the fourth wing of it all. Obviously, the dragons. The dragons talk, but you can actually hear them out loud, which is a difference between Language of Dragons and Fourth Wing. There is also war, civil war, and our main character, what is her name? Vivian. Our main character, Vivian, is right in the middle of it. Oh, wow, her name starts with a V. Violet starts with a V. I'm starting to understand the Fourth Wing references for sure. But she is caught in the middle of it. Her parents get arrested for being rebels. This is on the back of the book. And she basically takes it upon herself to try to help them in any way that she can. And in doing so, she finds herself a part of this civil war. Let's leave it at that. But the thing about Vivian, I almost said Violet. The thing about Vivian that is like important about her is she is a polyglot. She speaks like 9 human languages, I think 7 dragon languages, which is uncommon in this realm, which is London 1890 something, I believe. Definitely in the 1800s, definitely in London. So everybody in my mind has a British accent, which is just so fun. According to my Kindle, let's see, chapter 13. According to my Kindle, I am in chapter 13, 5 hours, 56 minutes left in this book, about halfway through, and I really like it so far. I think right now it's got definitely 4-star potential. We will see about 5 stars. I will say this plot is full of mysteries. We're probably following like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 different mysteries between characters and situations, and it's all going to rely on how those mysteries are solved and what we learn. And I'm just at the point of the book where it's either going to be really good or I might be a little disappointed, but that would be sad and I don't want that. So I'm going to fully lean into the outdoors and read some of this book. Language of Dragons. This is my Fairy Lou edition. We unboxed it. I think it's actually in my mini library setup where I built these shelves and decorated them, and I unboxed the Language of Dragons. And since then, I have been wanting to read it so badly. And I have thoughts. Let me check the notes on my Kindle. According to my Fable review, that is what I'm using to track my books. I rated A Language of Dragons 4.5 stars. That still rings true to me when I remind myself of it right now. I listed the characters as believable and morally ambiguous. The plot was clever, steady pacing, immersive world building, easy to read, and there are a few content warnings, including abuse, death, and war violence. There could definitely be more trigger warnings, so I would look them up if you're interested in reading this book and if any of the ones that I just said seem sensitive to you. But here are my spoiler-free thoughts on A Language of Dragons. First of all, I believe the book itself was described... Firstly, I'm pretty sure the book was described as being for fans of Fourth Wing and Babel by R.F. Kuang. I have not read Babel by R.F. Kuang yet. Don't come for me. I know, I feel like it's really popular, probably for really good reason in the fantasy realm, and I'm gonna get there. But I have read Fourth Wing. In fact, I think the Empyrean series is one of my favorite just overall fantasy romantasy series. So I was very much intrigued, and I was mostly curious about what parts of that book were going to come through in A Language of Dragons. And there are actually quite a lot of surface level similarities. For example, the main character in the Empyrean series is Violet, and in The Language of Dragons, her name is Vivian. There is an academy aspect to A Language of Dragons. Vivian is trying to get into the Dragon Academy, specifically their Dragon Translator course of study. It's very prestigious. There's not a lot of people that do it. The government has to kind of oversee who is getting let into this program and who is not. The Prime Minister of Britain and the people have an agreement with the Queen of Dragons to basically not eat or hunt each other. To have a society in which dragons and humans can coexist, albeit a bit separately. The dragons and humans are not like sharing cafes, but they both exist in the same area and don't try to each other. And that is a bit of the mystery in this story, is learning like why society is set up that way. This society also has a class system for the humans. There is first class, second class, and third class. Vivian is a second class citizen, meaning that she is one step away from absolutely destruction and just sadness and deprivation of life, basically, is how she puts it. That is what third class is. They are struggling in many, many, many ways, and first class is exactly what you think of when you hear first class. They've got it good, right? These are the people who are on councils. They get to go to university. They have all the resources and things like that. So Vivian is right in the center. She had some things, but not everything. And that is why she is working really, really hard to get into this academy and into the course of study that she wants to be a part of, which is dragon languages, dragon translation. All of this is better explained in the first few chapters of the book. Both of her parents are dragon anthropologists, I think is the correct word. They study dragons and the way that they work and the way that they think and the way that they are. And they have passed some of that language down to Vivian, specifically by making sure she can understand lots of languages. So the British dragons speak one language, the Chinese dragons have a language, the French dragons have their specific language, and Vivian is a bit of an expert, a polyglot in so many of those, so much so that it's uncommon. Most people in this society do not speak that many languages, human or dragon. Earlier when I said it was early 1800s London, it's London 1923. And dragons soar through the skies and protests erupt on the streets, but Vivian Featherswallow isn't worried. She is going to follow the rules and get an internship studying dragon languages. But her parents get arrested and her little sister is missing. She is basically given an ultimatum of, you help us and we help you, by the Prime Minister, by the government. And the government basically wants to send her to a place called Bletchley Park, where she discovers that she has been recruited to uncover the secrets of a hidden dragon language. If she succeeds, she and her family can all go home again. If she doesn't, they all die. So very high stakes. As far as I know, this is a standalone fantasy book. I tried to see if there was a second one, and I couldn't get a firm answer as to whether or not a second book to this story is happening. And I kind of love that. I feel like sometimes we're turned off by starting a new fantasy book because we know that there are like 3 or 4 after the first one, and it's like committing to a whole series is sometimes difficult. This being a standalone story is a big plus in my opinion. And as far as the role of dragons in this book, they are definitely there. They definitely play a part. You learn a lot about them, but you don't necessarily create super personal relationships with the dragons in this book. The dragons are kind of towards the humans. Like, we have an agreement not to hurt one another, but we don't have to be close, is basically what the dragons are telling the humans. So it does create a sense of mystery and like, what is this? What do we know? What don't we know? What do we need to know in order to win this war, in order to save Vivian's family? And that's what kind of keeps you interested in the story and keeps you wanting to read. This book did give me that feeling of, I need to know how this happens. I don't want to stop reading, which I think is a feeling we all kind of chase when we start a new book. It does have a little bit of a romance subplot, like a beeline plot. Overall, this is a solid dragon book. This is a book that I would recommend. I think I would recommend it more to my friends who read more fantasy than romance. If my friend reads more romance, I would probably suggest they start with something like Fourth Wing or the Empyrean series. For my fantasy readers, this one is very solid. It hit everything that I like in a fantasy book: impending war, mystical creatures and or magic, dragons. I really liked the academic elements in here, as well as Bletchley Park, which isn't an academy, more like a boot camp, but it still has enough similarities to like a university setting that make it interesting. 4.5 stars for A Language of Dragons, and I do have my next read already started, but before we get into the thoughts on that, let's do something a little bit more exciting. As I said, this copy of A Language of Dragons is a fairy loot book, and I have 2 more fairy loot books to unbox. As of right now, this is the only book subscription that I have, fairy loot books, because they are so beautiful. I have a whole section of them on my shelves, and I never am disappointed in the way that a fairy loot book looks. I have the YA book only subscription. They have an option where you can get like fun merch that comes with the book, but as you can see, I have 2 months worth of books to unbox, and that's because they're just so special. I feel like they need to be an experience, and I feel like I really need to just enjoy it. I don't know. I actually don't have a good enough reason as to why I put off unboxing these other than I want to do it with you. So let's get into it. Oh my gosh. Okay. This book is on my TBR, like near the top, because I have heard about it and it sounds right up my alley. I haven't even bought a copy yet, and that's the fun part about Fairy Loot is I feel like they send me books that I already want to read. Okay, here's the card if you want to take a hint before I tell you what the book is. Oh my gosh. It comes wrapped in bubble wrap so that your special edition is nice and safe, and this one is already so pretty. Oh my god. This is The Rose Bargain by Sarah Peyton Smith. Wow. Just look at this cover. It's like a blush pink, perfect for something with rose in the title. The sprayed edges look like a ballroom. Oh my gosh. And then I think the back is reminiscent of the front, balcony-esque type of thing that we're looking at. And the back says, when one makes a fairy bargain, one must be prepared to pay the price. A fairy book. Oh my gosh, I love that. Should we do a reading vlog of fairy books? Maybe that will be our next one. So this is a duology where a young woman enters a deadly competition to win the heart of a powerful Fae prince in hopes of saving her family and freeing her sister from a destructive bargain. But I'm pretty sure in order to do so, she has to enter a competition put on by the Fairy Queen. And the Fairy Queen is not a nice lady. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at this. This is so pretty. Oh, okay. This is the inside cover. You can see the metallic. That's kind of like a signature thing with Fairy Loot. They have a lot of metallic art. But if you open the flappity flap, we've got a little bit about our author, Sarah Payton Smith, and the puppy. Look at the puppy. Oh, that's so cute. And there's a letter from the author for the Fairy Loot edition of this book. Oh, wow. I'm so excited about this. And just so we are clear and specific, I said fairy. It is technically Fae, Fae Queen. So in case you were expecting Pixie Hollow, I don't think this is that book. But I'm excited to read it nonetheless. We still have one more Fairy Loot box to open. Ooh, okay. Whoa, whoa. Just by the little card art, what am I looking at? It's giving like a little bit more sinister than the Rose Bargain. All right, we have Where Shadows Meet by Patrice Caldwell. Wait, I have heard of this. That title and author is sounding very familiar to me. The back says true love requires sacrifice, and the red is giving blood. It's just reminding me of blood, honestly. And the dripping jewels and the sinister art. What is this about? There's a dagger on the sprayed edges. Okay, I need to know. Oh, this is stunning. Hello? Okay, I want you to have the same experience that I did, so I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to let you see what I saw. Isn't this the most beautiful artwork? And as I'm looking closely, I'm pretty sure we have a vampire, because her little fangs are sticking out, and an angel. Is this a vampire angel romance? Oh, okay. Let me just read you the flappity flap. Once long ago, a girl named Favre. Interesting, I've not heard that before. We're gonna go with Favre. We're gonna go with Favre. Once long ago, a girl named Favre sacrificed her wings for love. Thana, the young goddess she so willingly gave them up for, sacrificed that same love for power. But everything has a cost. Favre never got over the loss of her wings, and Thana's choices led to a life of eternal night and later, their destruction. Favre has bided her time ever since, waiting for the chance to resurrect the girl she loves who turned her into the creature she hates. Now, 1,000 years later, Layla, the crown princess of a vampire nation, must travel to Nekros, the island of the dead, where her best friend is captured during an attack on the capital. Along with Naja, a fierce, beautiful seer, and the last person she expected to help her, Layla forges down a dangerous path, intent on saving her friend. But nothing is as it seems. The closer she gets to her goal, the more she risks awakening an ancient evil and destroying everything she holds dear. Oh my gosh, this sounds great, because it sounds like we've got lore, 1,000-year-old lore that impacts some sort of maybe romance, I can't tell, in the future. Here for it. Perfect Fairy Loot unboxing, if I do say so myself. Now let's get back to what we are all here for, dragon books. And I have started my next dragon read called The Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Quershi. Right now it's in the Kindle Unlimited library, so that is why I'm reading it on my Kindle. And so far, so good. It is the opposite of A Language of Dragons in tone, because whereas A Language of Dragons was like fantasy book, this is cozy romance, small town but make it whimsical and add the dragons. I'm about halfway through the book already because it is a bit of a quick read. It is only 317 pages. When Saphira opens her cafe welcoming pet baby dragons, she isn't expecting it to be quite so hard to keep the fires burning. But her young dragon patrons keep incinerating her furniture, which means selling coffee isn't covering all her costs. Local heartthrob Aiden is a gardener, though his disobedient baby dragon is a major distraction from his beloved plants. However, Saphira's cafe gives him an idea. He'll ask Saphira to train his dragon and pay her enough to keep the cafe afloat. They know they're the answer to each other's problems, but happy-go-lucky Saphira and gorgeous but grumpy Aiden can't be more different. Can they find a way to work together and maybe even ignite some fire of their own? Dual POV, grumpy sunshine, cozy fantasy with happily ever after guaranteed. That is what it says on the back, so it's a nice, cozy, comfortable read. That's typically what I reach for after a fantasy, like a heavy fantasy novel, just like a palate cleanser, and that often comes in the form of cozy romance. According to my Kindle, I am 50%, so exactly halfway through the book. So I'm going to hold all of my thoughts, and when I come back, we're going to chat the Baby Dragon Cafe and a mini dragon book TBR. I'm even in my cozy softies loungewear to fit the cozy dragon cafe vibe. Doesn't that just seem like a place you want to be? A place where baby dragons are. Today. And every time I see a rainbow, my day gets instantly better because I'm just so amazed. Like, they're naturally occurring, like, in nature. I'm pretty sure in the most simplest way, you can only see a rainbow if the sun is in the right place and you physically are in the right place. So, like, seeing them is not uncommon, but it is really special, and I love them so much. They're just so bright and colorful and bring so much like awe and whimsy to the day. Like, your day could be fine, nothing special, pretty mid, and then you see a rainbow and it's like, oh my god, this is the best day ever. That's how I feel. So I just wanted to tell you, look out for your next rainbow, I guess. Summer season is also rainy season in Florida, so I feel like it's also rainbow season. It's official. We have finished the Baby Dragon Cafe, and I'm excited to talk to you about it, and after that we can go into my mini dragon book TBR, Where Fire Meets Desire, the Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Quershi. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, although I'm probably not. I went into this book very hopeful, very excited because the cover is super adorable and it's giving me cozy, just adorable story vibes, and that is exactly what this is. In fact, the description says happily ever after guaranteed, so not a spoiler. You know that this is an overall upbeat story. Why did I hesitate? Because I'm a little bit nervous to give my review for this story. There was a lot of things I liked in here. We're reading dragon books in this vlog, so obviously there are dragons. The romance is nice and easy to read, and the story itself is great and very easy to follow along. I would recommend this book for somebody who wants to get into reading but doesn't really know what they like to read. Like, maybe they don't have a favorite trope yet. They just want to read some more things and start to learn about themselves as a reader. I think this is a good little taste of a lot of different things. Cozy romance, fantasy, romantasy, small town trope, and this is a grumpy sunshine. At least that's how it's described. And before I get into the details of what I liked and what I didn't like about this story, obviously, spoiler free. I think the fun part about sharing books is to see other people's opinions. I think that's why we all love watching reading vlogs and following bookish creators, because we want to see not only what they recommend, but like how they feel about books that we've read or books we think we might want to read. And it's fun and interesting to kind of compare opinions. So let me just tell you that this book was described as grumpy sunshine, and it did not read that way for me. I feel like the grumpy wasn't grumpy. He was just shy and, of course, misunderstood. I feel like most grumpies are just misunderstood people. And I think when I imagine a grumpy in a grumpy sunshine trope, I imagine him to be like, or her, to be like, you know what I mean? Like, like mean for no reason that we know of yet. Just standoffish. Society is kind of like, we're gonna leave you some space. Stand 6 feet away from me. And it definitely doesn't have to be that way. This book is not that way though. And I think I was expecting that. The plot of this story, there was zero surprises. I feel like you can imagine this story and kind of get there. There is maybe some more adventurous plot lines in the last third of the book, but overall, it was exactly what I expected it to be. This book did exactly what it said it was going to do. It gave me a happily ever after. However, let me tell you my ideal experience with a book like this. I would have loved for 80, maybe even 90% of the book being like tension, and you want them to get together. You want the characters to get together in the end. Know that they're going to get together in the end. So you're just like waiting on pins and needles about what's going to happen next. How do we get to our happily ever after? Oh no, something happened. And now we have to go down this other rabbit hole to bring us right back to our grand circle moment. That is what I want. That is what I want. And for me, I feel the happily ever after vibes came a little early for the book. This is me flipping through the Kindle version. It's dual POV, so you see both her thoughts and his thoughts, and I felt that they were already in love and together very early on in the story. In fact, I wrote down that I felt like this book could be a little shorter, and then it would feel more like the thing I wanted it to feel. It would be a little bit more impactful in my opinion, but I'm not an author, so, you know, this was her story. And that's on that. But the characters are very lovable. I really like the cafe owner. She is a girl boss. Like, she's getting it. That is her whole thing. She opened this cafe after the passing of her grandmother, her Nenema. And she knew that Nenema would have wanted to see her bring the cafe to life, so she did exactly that. She also has a bestie who helps work the cafe, and seeing their relationship was really fun. Now on his side, we get to see a little bit of his family. I would have liked to see more of them, but the parts that we did see of them, they were very lovable. He has 2 sisters that he's relatively close to, and they just give sisterly vibes, like ganging up on him and trying to push him out of his comfort zone and things like that. So overall, the girls in this book were girling. I really liked them. I want to be friends with them. So good and bad things from this book. Like I've already said, I wish it was a little bit shorter. Like, I did find myself kind of skimming a bit near the end, because I felt like we had already gotten the happily ever after, and I was just kind of like, what else could there possibly be? And there were some extra things. This is the first book in a series of baby dragon coded cozy romances that are not a series, but like what is it whenever the books, you don't have to read the books in a specific order, but they all take place in the same world? I can't think of that word right now, but whatever that is, this is book 1. I'm intrigued enough by the world to want to read the second book. I don't know when it's coming out, but I'll just keep an eye out for it. That being said, my overall rating for the Baby Dragon Cafe is 2.5 stars, which I'm even nervous about saying because I feel like people hear 2.5 and they're like, oh, I'm never gonna read that. Don't be like that. I'm like that sometimes too, but we should work on ourselves. Let's not act like 2.5 is a terrible book, because there were things that I liked in this book, like enough that I would read the next one in the series. And I think that constitutes a good book. So just because I'm rating it 2.5 does not mean you won't love it. In fact, the first review I read of this book said if I could give it 6 stars, I would. So it's clearly that person's cup of tea. I just, I want a different flavor. Before we go, I want to leave you and myself a few more dragon book recommendations. One of them has been on my TBR for a few months now, and I'm starting to get the itch to finally get a copy and read it. I don't own it. So Let Them Burn by Camila Cole. It's my favorite genre, Black girl fantasy, so I'm already really, really excited about it. It's a Jamaican-inspired fantasy that follows a God's blessed heroine who's forced to choose between saving her sister or protecting her homeland. Perfect for fans of Iron Widow, which I haven't read, but maybe I should look into, and The Priory of the Orange Tree, which I also haven't read. I know, I feel like that's another really popular fantasy book, and I'm gonna get to it eventually, but I haven't read it either. So I'm kind of going in as a blank slate. Farron Vincent can channel the power of the gods. 5 years ago, she used her divine magic to liberate her island from its enemies, the dragon-riding Langley Empire. But now at 17, whoa, she did that 5 years ago and she's 17. She did that when she was 12. She liberated her island at 12? Okay. I was like crafting with popsicle sticks. Now at 17, Farron is all powered up with no wars to fight. She's a legend to her people and a nuisance to her neighbors. When she's forced to attend an international peace summit, Farron expects that she will perform tricks like a trained pet and then go home. She doesn't expect her older sister, Alara, forming an unprecedented bond with an enemy dragon, or the gods claiming the only way to break that bond is to kill her sister. As Farron's desperation to find another solution takes her down a dark path and Alara discovers the shocking secrets at the heart of the Langley Empire, both must make difficult choices that will shape each other's lives, as well as the fate of their world. So it's really more of a sister story. That's so exciting. The next 2 recs I got from Novel Nia. She made a TikTok about dragon books, and I loved these 2 from her list. The first one being To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monaquil Blackgoose. That is such a unique name. I love it. Monaquil Blackgoose. That sounds like a legendary author, honestly, like somebody whose works have been passed down, doesn't it? Okay, so before I get into this, apologies for anything that is mispronounced, and there's probably going to be a lot of things. It's won Best Book of the Year by The Washington Post, NPR, Sugar Pop, Chicago Public Library, Polygon, She Reads, and Astrostraddle. That is a lot. This is a popular book. I'm surprised I hadn't heard of it before. The remote island of Masquapag has not seen a dragon in many generations until 15-year-old Anaquist finds a dragon's egg and bonds with its hatchling. Her people are delighted, for all remember the tales of the days when dragons lived among them and danced away the storms of autumn, enabling the people to thrive. To them, Anaquist is revered as Nampeshwai Sit. Serious apologies. This might be a book where I want to listen to the audio. A person in a unique relationship with a dragon. Unfortunately for Anaquist, the English conquerors of her land have different opinions. They have a very specific idea of how a dragon should be raised and who should be doing the raising, and Anaquist does not meet any of their requirements. Only with great reluctance do they allow Anaquist to enroll in a proper English dragon school on the mainland. If she cannot succeed there, her dragon will be killed. For a girl with no formal schooling, a non-English upbringing, and a very different understanding of her history of the land, challenges abound both socially and academically. But Anaquist is smart, determined, and resolved to learn what she needs to help her dragon, even if it means teaching herself. The one thing she refuses to do, however, is become the meek English miss that everyone expects. Anaquist and her dragon may be coming of age, but they're also coming into power, and that brings an important realization. The world needs changing, and they might just be the ones to do it. Oh my gosh, I hope this dragon talks in some way. I hope we can hear this dragon's thoughts. But even if we don't, there are so many appealing things to that storyline, the parallels to Native American culture. I am really excited to read that book. I am so excited for that one. I think that just moved up on my TBR a little bit, my never-ending TBR, because can we just be real for a second? Everyone's like, let's add this to my TBR. My TBR is boundless. This last book I remember seeing in a bookstore maybe last year, but I was reminded of it when I watched Novelnia's video. It is Dragon Fruit by Makia Lasir, a Pacific Island-inspired fantasy. I'm so excited about that. In the old tales, it is written that the egg of a sea dragon, Dragon Fruit, holds within it the power to undo a person's greatest sorrow. But as with all things that offer hope when hope had gone, the tale came with a warning. Every wish demands a price. Hannah Leigh of Tom Rind is the cherished daughter of an old island family. But when her father steals a sea dragon egg meant for an ailing princess, she is forced into a life of exile. In the years that follow, Hannah Leigh finds solace in studying the majestic sea dragons that roam the Nominomi. My bad. Nominomi. Yeah. Until one day an encounter with a female dragon offers her what she desires most, a chance to return home and to right a terrible wrong. Sam is the last remaining prince of Tamarin, but he can never inherit the throne, for Tamarin is a matriarchal society. With his mother ill and his grandmother nearing the end of her reign, Sam is left with two choices: to marry or to find a cure for the sickness that has plagued his mother for 10 long years. When a childhood companion returns from exile, she brings with her something he has not felt in a very long time: hope. But Hannah Leigh and Sam are not the only ones searching for the dragon fruit, and as they battle enemies both near and far, there is another danger they cannot escape. That of the dragon fruit itself. Oh my gosh, a romance subplot! I have never ever met a fantasy book with a romance subplot that I didn't like. This has been so fun. I love dragon books, and I never get sick of them. So if you have any more, definitely leave your recommendations. Just leave any book recommendation. It doesn't have to be a dragon book. Or tell me the book that you just finished reading. That is all for this reading vlog, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!